us all together. Lord, we gather in your name, as children of a sovereign God. Forever we proclaim, to God be all glory.
Good morning, how you doing? It is Friday, February the 27th, 2026. Welcome to episode 608 of The Thinking Theologian as we continue our journey through the scriptures. So today we read Numbers chapter 8 through 10. The title of today is Remembering the Lord's Provision. The focal scripture is in Numbers chapter 9, verse 2, and this is what it says. The Israelites are to observe the Passover at its appointed time. So I'm not sure about you, but sometimes I can forget how the Lord provides for me in my life. By nature, I tend to focus on the negative and try to learn from my mistakes and my failures. In doing so, it also causes me to be extremely difficult on myself and even on others. I bring this up because I often apply the same logic in my spiritual life. I will focus on what the Lord has not done in my life instead of what he has accomplished. In today's reading, the Israelites were reminded to observe the Passover. Why? Because the Passover is a reminder of how the Lord provided for his people. This was a moment in their history where the Lord did a miraculous work and delivered them from the angel of death. That night in Egypt, death came to every household. Either the people committed a sacrifice and put the blood on the doorpost, or the angel of death took the firstborn in every household. This event led to their deliverance and their salvation from oppression. So this is a very significant event in the life of the Jewish people. And so again, death came to every household, but how that death came depended upon their obedience to the Lord. And if they followed the Lord's provision for sacrifice and committed the sacrifice and put the blood around the doorpost, this is why it's called Passover. When the angel of death saw the blood on the doorpost, he would pass over that house, and death wouldn't come. The firstborn wouldn't be taken. And so that's why the holiday, the remembrance is called Passover. And that's important to know because God did a miraculous work. Nothing else seemed to make sense. And God provided in a way that sometimes can be missed. And the people, the children of Israel, made mistakes. They continue to fall and falter. And sometimes it's easy to forget how the Lord moves when things aren't going good in your personal life at that moment. And so Israel had every reason to be happy and confident in the Lord. However, life can wear you down and get your focus off of what is important. And so it can be relational, financial, personal, or even health-related issues. But no matter what, the Lord's with his people. These times of pains can't be bigger than our times of victory, because those times of victory are precious and demonstrate how God looks after his people. Now, I know in my personal life, I have to remind myself how God has taken care of me in my life. He has pulled off some victories that only were possible because he is God. He showed up in places in ways that made zero sense. God has also worked in me and changed my heart and taught me what true obedience and faith looks like. So I challenge you today to trust in the Lord's goodness and trust his provision, even though it gets difficult sometimes, and even if you focus on the negative. Remember where he's brought you from and how your present circumstances are not bigger than the Lord. And that's something I have to remind myself over, because it's easy to get focused on the negative and not focus on who God is. And so right now, think about things in your life where you're focused on the negative. Maybe you're feeling like relationships are falling apart. Financially, things are falling apart. Relational things are falling apart. Financially, things are falling apart. You don't know what to do, or maybe just personally in your own goals you want to have accomplished, things aren't being accomplished the way you would like them to, and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do. Remember how the Lord has brought you from where you were to where you are now, because even if you're not where you want to be now, you're a lot further you are now than you were when you first started. And I think sometimes we forget that, and how God deals with us and how it works. It's not going to be an instantaneous, we're going to go from being here to being the perfect whatever, or have the perfect situation. But God will provide ways to provide for his people. I've seen him do that in my personal life and in the lives of others. And sometimes in the moment, it didn't seem like a big thing, but God moved and God surely showed out who he is, because he is good and because he is holy. And so we have to remember how the Lord will provide for us even when it doesn't make sense. So thank you for being here today. Tomorrow we'll be in Numbers chapter 11 to 13. Have a good day.